September 27th, 2025, episode 602, episode 602, let's go. Of course, I have a few things to share with you guys. Shall we? Hooker from hell killed 3 Johns with fentanyl and callous robbery scheme.
Prosecutors accusing 36-year-old Tabitha Bundrick of targeting at least 4 victims in Upper Manhattan and Washington Heights.
She robbed them of personal belongings, including their phones, money, and sneakers.
They say she would purposely offer the victims fentanyl-laced drugs in order to incapacitate them. In July, Bundrick took a plea deal where she was sentenced to 13 years in federal prison for possession of a controlled substance in relation to the druggings. Today in state court, for the first time, she faced 3 felony murder charges.
Back in 2023, I caught the story of Rebecca Auburn out of Central Ohio, who was charged with 4 counts of murder and 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter for drugging and robbing men in the same exact fashion. They were calling her a serial killer. And I think the term is accurate because a serial killer is someone who preys on a certain type of victim, and someone with enough sexual desire to pay strangers for sex, which is often risky, is definitely a type. A hooker from hell. Well, if she was a hooker from heaven, she'd be a wife. Am I right or am I right, fellas? Killed 3 Johns. There's not a lot of chuckles in this story. I gotta get them where I can find them. When she fed them fentanyl to knock them out and rob them, leaving 1 victim dead with his pants at his knees, Manhattan prosecutors charged Wednesday. Prostitute Tabitha Bundrick, 38, is accused of carrying out the calculated and callous scheme that targeted at least 4 victims across Upper Manhattan, running off with their phones, sneakers, clothes, and cash, according to the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. Bundrick was in custody at the same time of the new charges and is already facing a federal prison sentence after pleading guilty in August to drug distribution charges tied to the same crime spree. Busy woman. She is now facing 3 state murder counts and related charges. That drug distribution charge already tells me she's in these streets working things from all angles, not just prostitution. Prostitution might not even be her most lucrative hustle. She doesn't care about an unsatisfied customer because guess what? If she thinks she can make more money robbing you than sleeping with you, she's going to rob you. And then there's that false sense of security that comes with men when they're in a room with a woman and they think they can physically overpower so they don't have anything to worry about. But in all actuality, she's the apex predator. I want to be very clear to those who think they can get away with drugging and robbing unsuspecting victims. Working with our law enforcement partners, we will uncover and prosecute this conduct, Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg said in a statement. Wait a minute. I sure hope DA Bragg didn't spend too much time putting that small statement together, because it's never going to happen. As long as there's ass being sold, somebody's going to come up dead every once in a while. Whether ass is sold for a premium or ass is sold for pennies on the dollar, ass is always going to be sold. The escort's deadly reign began on April 30th, 2023, when she convinced Mario Paulin, 42, and his pal to come back to an apartment. These are grown men where they trade cash for sex. Manhattan Assistant District Attorney Daphna Yaron said during her arraignment. Now, peep game, because she's more than comfortable inviting not 1, 2 guys, because she knows the 3 of them are going to walk in, but it's guaranteed she's going to be the only one that walks out.
In the case of Mario Paulin, prosecutors say Bundrick offered him and a friend sex for cash. They say the 36-year-old then lured the 2 men to an apartment where she convinced him to snort fentanyl that Bundrick allegedly pawned off as cocaine. The next morning, the surviving victim woke up to Paulin dead next to him. their belongings gone with no recollection of what happened.
Taking strange drugs from a stranger you're paying to have sex with is even more dangerous than actually having sex with the stranger. I mean, you're paying for everything else. How come the drugs are free? Drugs are never free. I don't do drugs. That's why if someone were to offer them to me, it'd be an immediate red flag. But if you're on that stuff, or if you're in a diminished state of mind, i.e., your dick's too hard to think straight, then you probably just think it's great customer service. Paulin died at the scene, and the pal woke up in an empty apartment next to his friend's body. She said, damn, that's messed up. Now, if you would have woke up to your friend alive and well, you would have both been like, yo, she robbed us, she got us. Sometime down the line, you'll learn to laugh at it and you'll treat it as a lesson learned. But she's out here killing people. He's never coming back. That is all the surviving victim remembers, snorting one time, the prosecutor said. The next thing he remembers is he wakes up alone in the apartment before his friend, who is laying there motionless. He can't wake him up. 5 months later, Bundrick met up with Miguel Naves, 39. She got another one, and the pair went back to his Washington Heights apartment where she fed him fentanyl-laced drugs, according to the district attorney's office. That fentanyl levels the playing field. It doesn't take a lot to get you to a point where she can do whatever she wants to you. Days after that encounter, Navez's brother found him dead with his pants around his knees and many of his personal belongings cleaned out. Lauren said the prostitute allegedly followed the same scheme on February 25th, rinse and repeat, 2024, killing Abraham Fernandez inside his Upper Manhattan apartment. She was caught on surveillance camera going in and out of the building, hauling away several giant laundry bags. You're killing people for all this material crap. It's not like cash, or you might get some jewelry and a watch or two or something, but there's nothing in those laundry bags, I promise you, that's of any immediate value, including 4 pairs of sneakers. Prosecutors allege you killed somebody for all this stuff. She was arrested on March 5th on initially only robbery charges. This has to be the most devastating way for your family to find out that you were into prostitutes, whether it was the first time or the 100th time. It's still not something that you tell your mom that you're doing to fill in your weekends. What could have possibly happened to him, officer? Well, apparently he loved his hookers. Unfortunately, this one didn't love him long time like the other one. Bundrick's lawyer, public defender Eric Burst. So you mean to tell me you could only get a public defender after all the material possessions and the trinkets that you robbed people for after you killed them, all the lives you destroyed? You didn't manage to be able to squirrel away enough cash to afford a real lawyer. Claimed his client is not the cold-hearted individual or calculated killer that the prosecutors believe her to be. Instead, she's someone who's overcome a lot of brokenness, adversity in her life, said Burst, who said Bundrick is mentally ill and is a child sex abuse victim. Give this man an Emmy. Bundrick, dressed in a tan prison suit, was remanded to Rikers Island. She was hit with a 13-year sentence for the federal drug charges. Bragg called the defendant's alleged actions extremely calculated and urged other possible surviving victims to come forward. Unfortunately, there may be more dead victims also. This callous behavior allegedly led to the deaths of 3 people. I think there's more. He said she faces 25 years to life if convicted on the new indictment. Of course, I love to hear your thoughts on this. I love to hear your opinions on this. It doesn't matter how she arrived at this conclusion. It matters that she's a monster today. Even through the most adverse of circumstances, it's up to you to wake up and choose the person that you want to be. Some people choose to struggle against it and come up out of it, and some people choose to embrace it and become, well, her. Florida woman, Florida, you damn degenerates, welcome back. Allegedly met men at bars, drugged them, and stole their luxury watches.
25-year-old Angelina Chanel Esty.
So it's the usual story, Judge.
That prosecutors and the judge know well.
That the Fontainebleau, same old story.
Now, she looks good, and that's her real hair. If that mush-faced milk bone Rebecca Auburn was up in Ohio laying them flat doing the same exact thing, granted it is Ohio, Rebecca might be an 8 in Ohio, then I know for a fact this shorty here was down in Florida printing her own money. They don't even have to sleep with the men anymore. They've evolved like some type of Pokemon prostitute. Streetwalker, I choose you. They're playing their part early on. They're being a good host, good guest, good companion, give you a good drink till it's good night, steal everything that isn't nailed down, then goodbye. A Florida woman was recently arrested for stealing men's luxury watches in a familiar drugging and burglary scheme, police say. And authorities say this is not her first time. It is not. She is a seasoned veteran, a very well-seasoned veteran. Angelina Chanel Este, 25, stands accused of 1 count each of burglary of an occupied dwelling and grand theft between $20,000 and $100,000, according to the Miami Police Department. The underlying incident allegedly occurred on August 9th at an apartment on Brickell Bay Drive. Police say sometime later, a man woke up and reported his $20,000 Rolex had been stolen, along with $4,000 in cash and his friend's $1,000 replica Rolex. Even the fake one, nobody's safe, according to an arrest report obtained by Miami-based Fox and ABC affiliate WSVN and local independent TV station WPLG.
Victims could have been killed.
They choose to take somebody home when they meet in a club. We can't be everybody's parent.
That judge warned people to be careful picking up anyone in clubs. 2 weeks later, Este faces similar charges.
Isn't it interesting how you never hear the man in any of these reports say that he slept with the woman first and when he woke up she was gone and everything was gone? As a man, the only dignity that I would be able to salvage while I'm rubbing my bare wrist filling out a police report would be being able to say that I GTD. But these guys are not getting the draws. These women are saving that sex for the one man they don't want to rob. Lucky him. The man told investigators he and his friend, the friend with the $1,000 replica Rolex, met Este and another woman at the Blackbird Ordinary Bar, a short walk away from the apartment in question, and then left during the early morning hours. Law enforcement say surveillance footage from the bar showed Este and the person identified as her accomplice there that night. She needed a wing woman. Later, the man picked the defendant out of a photo array. Police said, like she's a usual suspect. Her face is at the top of the usual suspects list. Investigators say the victim's friend also suffered an unauthorized $500 Cash App transaction. According to the arrest report, the victim, for his part, described a limited recollection of the evening and surmised he had been drugged, police said. I know they're not getting the townies because if you're from that area, then you already know who to stay away from. They're getting the men that's just passing through. They see him in the club, dressed to impress, as you should. You've done well for yourself. Why not celebrate? And it's Miami. But to these women, it's like blood in the water. It's like a dinner bell. National Geographic needs to do a piece on how the double-breasted, watch-snatching Jezebel eats in her habitat by plucking the feathers of the males she chooses not to mate with. Make it happen, Nat Geo. In May, the defendant turned herself in to police in Doral, a medium-sized city in the Miami metro area, over similar allegations. She's been busy almost all year. In 3 separate incidents dating back to March, Este was identified as the suspect, according to WSVN, the usual suspect. Este is currently detained in the Turner Guilford Night Correctional Center on $5,000 bond after being granted bond on Friday. I guess they don't think she's a flight risk. The defendant is next slated to appear in court for arraignment on October 24th. Of course, I love to hear your thoughts on this. I love to hear your opinions on this. This is a judgment-free zone, but I just want to know, I need to know, who do you think is more responsible for these situations, the robber or the robbee? Fun show, fun show, fun show. The music for this episode is from Will B. Alexander. Get your music from Will B. Alexander. I'll leave the contact information down here at the bottom. If you're a producer and you would like to have your music featured on an episode of this podcast, reach out to me on any one of my socials. I'll leave the contact information up at the top. Don't forget to follow me on my socials. Find me wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. I am there. That being said, I'm going to wrap this one up, but I'll be sure to talk to you guys very, very soon. Jusqu'à la prochaine fois. I know they're not getting the townies, because if you're from that area, then you should already know who the hell to stay away from in these clubs. They're getting the men that's passing through. You're dressed to impress in the club, as you should. You've done well for yourself. Why not celebrate? And you're in Miami. But to these ladies, it's like blood in the water. It's like a dinner bell. Nat Geo needs to do a piece on how the double-breasted, watch-snatching Jezebel eats in her own habitat by plucking the feathers of the mates she chooses not to.